There's a group of online activists that lie, accuse people of things they didn't actually do, and advocate for and push for outright violence. Now, it's been this way for some time, as most of you know, especially if you watched the Joe Rogan Experience 3 years ago, where I pointed out to the heads of Twitter that the far left was actively inciting, advocating for, and organizing violence. And they did nothing to stop it. For the longest time, they just got away with it. Well, the times they are changing. With Elon Musk's takeover, now they're starting to get banned. Child exploitation starting to get banned. You can see the pure evil that resides in this faction of cultists. Now, I don't think every single person on the left is evil. There's a handful of people that I consider to be economically and politically left, but overwhelmingly, when people refer to the left, they're referring to this big cult, not somebody who just thinks we should have universal health care. Here's what they do. They actively target people. They call for violence against them, like they did with the Covington kids. They spread lies. They call advertisers and banks and try and interfere with your contracts. Tortious interference. But now they're being called out. In this amazing viral clip, Democrats, quote, online safety expert humiliated in Congress with her own tweets threatening judges. Activist instructor with Harvard Law, Alejandro Caraballo, believes rhetoric on social media leads to real world violence. Unless that rhetoric is Caraballo's own. I love it. These people want to spread lies about the work that we do. And the only thing I've ever done is say, violence don't work. Don't engage in violence. We have to win through nonviolent civil disobedience, elections, etc. Strategy, culture building. You get the point. These people, however, actively call for violence and then scream and cry that they're the victims, not the perpetrators. In fact, they're the perpetrators. You gotta watch this exchange. Nancy Mace masterfully exposes these liars and hypocrites. Let me play for you this clip.
Is rhetoric on social media a problem and a threat to our democracy, Mr. Ward?
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Ms. Caraballo?
Yes.
Ms. Nomani?
Yes.
Ms. Tyler?
Yes.
Yes.
They all said yes.
Another question I have. Do you believe that rhetoric targeting officials with violence for carrying out their constitutional duties is a threat to democracy, Mr. Ward? Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Only a few weeks after the attempted attack on a Supreme Court justice on June 25th, one of the witnesses, Alejandro Caraballo, tweeted out the following in response to a decision on abortion overturning Roe v. Wade, and I'll quote directly from the tweet. "The 6 justices who overturned Roe should never know peace again. It is our civic duty to accost them every time they're in public. They are pariahs. Since women don't have their rights, these justices should never have a peaceful moment in public again." I know something about being accosted. The night of January 5th, I was physically accosted on the streets of DC in Navy Yard by a constituent of mine. I fervently blamed rhetoric on social media, rhetoric at public events, for being physically accosted. I carry a gun everywhere I go when I am in my district and I'm at home because
I just want to point out, where you can, you should probably just carry a gun.
I know personally that rhetoric has consequences. I've had my car keyed. I've had my house spray painted. I had someone trespass in my house as recently as August. I've been doxxed on social media about where I live. And I've had to add to security everywhere I go. Often, because I can't afford it, I have to carry my own firearm wherever I go. And Alejandro Caraballo also recently tweeted on November 19th, not even a month ago, that the Supreme Court, vested with the judicial power of the United States by our Constitution, stated they are not a legitimate court issuing decisions. And also the Supreme Court is an organ of the far right. So my last question today of Ms. Caraballo, do you stand by these comments, this kind of rhetoric on social media? And do you believe it's a threat to democracy?
Thank you, Representative, for the opportunity to clarify and provide context to my tweets.
I have a question, is it yes or no? Do you believe your rhetoric is a threat to democracy when you're calling to accost branch of government, the Supreme Court.
I don't believe that's a correct characterization
What
of
you
my
tweeted.
here we
statements.
go.
Did you
Here
not
we
tweet
go.
that? That
Here
you
we
thought
go.
that the Supreme
These
Court
people are
justices
so
should
full
be
of it.
accosted?
What I'm
you
saying
tweet
is
that,
that
yes or
that is
no?
not an
Did you tweet
accurate characterization of my statements.
On June 8th of this year, a man was arrested near Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home in Maryland. He told law enforcement officers he wanted to kill a Supreme Court justice. He was found with a knife, with a pistol, 2 magazines, ammunition, pepper spray, zip ties, a hammer, crowbar, and duct tape.
Ms. Caraballo, on page 12 and 13 of your written testimony, you painted concerned parents as having been infiltrated by white nationalists and far-right militia groups, which played a significant role in school board protests. This has not actually been my experience with concerned parents. In
No,
your
of course,
testimony,
they're making it up, obviously.
you wrote that in Loudoun County, Virginia, unfounded rumors that spread in local parent groups on Facebook about an alleged trans student sexually assaulting a girl in a bathroom led to a firestorm of several heated school board protests that descended into violence. But in fact, the perpetrator, it actually turned out, had committed 2 sexual assaults at 2 different Loudoun County schools in 2021 and was arrested on October 7th, 2021 by the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office. These weren't unfounded rumors, as you suggest. It actually turns out law enforcement had to act because a sexual assault occurred.
You come to a fork in the road, and one path leads to your destination, the other path leads to death and destruction. On the side of each fork, there is an individual. One always tells the truth, and one always lies. How do you figure out which path is the right path? It's the old riddle. The answer is actually fairly simple. You ask either one of them what the other would say, and then you do the opposite. So you have someone on the left, and he says, I say, what would that guy tell me to do? He says, he would tell you to take this path right here. I asked the guy on the right, what would he tell me to do? He'd tell you to take the path right there. The person who always tells you the truth is going to tell you the liar's lying. The liar is going to tell you the person telling the truth is lying as well, giving you the answer. Do the opposite of what they say. The reason I bring that up is because what you see here with this hearing, Alejandra Caraballo actively called for physical violence against people. And somebody went to try and kill Kavanaugh. Caraballo goes online and lies about someone actually committing an atrocious crime against 2 underage girls. Lies about it to protect them. Nancy Mace masterfully, Mr. Donalds, also excellent work, calling them out, getting it on video so we can see that these people are the liars. So when I talk of this riddle, there are 2 men, one on each side. One always tells the truth, one always lies. Not everybody knows the answer as to how do you solve this issue. And I don't know how it actually translates to the real world because it's much more complicated than that. But I'm just making a point about what do you do when you're beset by someone who's always lying and someone who's always telling the truth. I don't think people on the right are perfect, but I can tell you this. People on the left are just outright making things up. I think often people on the right are just following the narrative in their narrative. So you'll often see, like the other day I was talking about this with the NHL. They did a trans league. And I see a bunch of people on the right being like, haha, you deserve this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, hold on, guys. Come on. This is them doing a league separate from men's and women's league, creating their own league. Why is anybody mad about that? People can choose to play sports with whoever they want. I often think people are just like, this is a thing to be mad about. Not everybody. On the left, however, you end up with these individuals, namely Caraballo and the others involved, who just outright make things up. And I want to tell you why this one strikes at me so much. If I get in my car and I drive 1 minute, I'm in Loudoun County. 1 minute. Not kidding. In fact, in order to get through to get to West Virginia to the Maryland studio, I have to drive through Loudoun County. So it's a minute is probably an understatement. It's probably 45. Now, a minute's fair. 1 minute. No, seriously, 1 minute is fair to get to Loudoun County. So I'm here. We drive through Loudoun County. We go skate there sometimes. And I've seen the parents. I've seen what they've talked about. I've read the stories. I've looked into it. These people are lying. And they're advocating for violence. So while that was going on, I want to pull up this story right here. This is what we have from the Daily Mail. It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? Ex-Twitter censor Yoel Roth and his boyfriend are forced to flee their $1.1 million home after his thesis, which supports letting children use Grindr, a hookup app, is shared by Elon Musk. Are you serious? He's had to flee? Where does this dude live? San Francisco? What is he fleeing? I know exactly where he lives, but I'm assuming it's in San Francisco, right? Blah, blah, blah. Let's see what he says. Let's see where they gleefully talking about the app. Come on. Longtime member appears. Tricky thing about Elon. Yeah, okay, we get the point. He reportedly fled his home. It's a lie. This is misinformation and manipulation. We've been swatted here. Okay, El Cerrito. Okay, I don't know where that is. Where is that? Do you guys know where El Cerrito? Let me see if I can look that up. El Cerrito is it Texas? Oh no, it's California, and I got the map right here. And what's that? Oh, it's the Bay. So this dude basically lives in Berkeley, and he's pretending like now I have to flee my home. You live in Berkeley, dude. You're surrounded by Antifa. You're in the belly of the beast. What are you scared about? It's fake. I live in MAGA country. We get swatted 15 or so many times. We get the bomb squad sent here. We get people threatening my life. We get threatening phone calls sent to my family members. I don't flee my house. We just get guards. Why? I live in MAGA country, dude. Sure. There is a fear. Some crazy crackpot will come out to MAGA country. It's possible. But for the most part, I don't really think so. I mean, anybody who comes out here, I beg you, please don't. MAGA country ain't going to take too kindly to far-left whack jobs driving out into the middle of a rural area with no streetlights. I got to tell you, it's really funny. We had Vosh on the show, and he was talking about how, I think it was him talking about it. Maybe it wasn't Vosh. How it's kind of freaky. You're coming out to the studio to come on Timcast IRL. It's pitch black. You can't see anything. You're driving down a country road. You turn left, and it's a very, very long, like 1,000-foot long, I think it's 1,500 feet driveway, pitch black on all sides. And then you come up to this big building. You're in the middle of nowhere. So, someone told us that they were freaked out. It may have been Vosh. I'm not sure. Maybe it wasn't Vosh. Yeah, please don't come here. This is MAGA country. And for that matter, I really don't believe that someone's going to go to Antifa country and go and track down Yoel Roth's house. I just don't see it. Now, granted, the Bay Area is densely populated and there's substantially more people who disagree. Like, I'll put it this way. There's probably more MAGA people in the Bay Area than there are by me. True. Absolutely. Now, well, I'll tell you, everybody who's around me are basically MAGA. It's sparsely populated. So you might see 10 families in, a few blocks. Whereas in San Francisco, you're going to see, hundreds of thousands. In which case, of those hundreds of thousands, you've probably got, let's say, 5% are MAGA people. So there's a lot more MAGA people. So, okay, fine, I get it. But I just don't believe it. I think what they do here, what they're doing with those hearings, is they actively push for violence. They call for violence. They organize violence. And then the moment anyone says a naughty word, they go, help, help, I'm being repressed. Oh, no, I'm forced to flee my home. No, you're not. You're not. If I'm not, you're not. But then again, to be fair, in the Bay Area, you can't really have a gun. So, that could be a big factor. I'm not super worried about someone coming here because we are armed to the teeth. And, the joke I made on Twitter was like, could you imagine? All these people are posting, they're trying to post my address. They're not actually posting my address. Like, the people, I just point out, we announced a new headquarters a long time ago. The backdrop for where I filmed changed. We moved, but they're posting this wrong address. But so be it. And I just said, could you imagine some like soy boy coming out to MAGA country and breaking into a building only to see some right-wing nut job with a Barrett M82 pointed at him, screaming yeehaw? Dude, the scary thing about MAGA country is that these people are like, you get this like 50-year-old beer-bellied guy with 3 guns on his belt. And he's like, boy, I'd wish Antifa would come up here. And I'm like, come on. Like, I get it, but you don't want to, I wish they'd make my day. That's the attitude of a lot of these people. Maybe some of those people will go to jail because it's like, dude, you don't want to encourage that. But their point is basically this. They'd love to make an example of someone who tries to F around and find out. Do not come to MAGA country bringing that stuff around here. You want to come here and you want to hang out, people will talk to you. They got no problem there. But you come bring that violence, you come bringing those bricks, your Molotovs, it ain't going to go well. I posted the photo on Twitter of the bullet hole in my kitchen. And the funny thing is, the deep criticism was, why did you miss? I didn't shoot the gun. I wasn't there. And somebody said, warning shots are lawful but awful. It's like, look, I'm not going to speak to what happened. I wasn't there. Some people broke in. We believe it was politically targeted. For a variety of reasons, I won't give away all the details because security issues. But this is where we're at in America, my friends. Caraballo and these other far leftists sitting before Congress, actively lying about everything, because that's the game they play. It's a cult. Everything they do is to empower the cult. Everything they do is to convince regular people to stay in the cult. It's a cult. When you lie about what's going on and then call for violence, you're a cult. If I say something like, hey guys, be independent, think for yourselves, watch left-wing and right-wing content, don't engage in violence, that's the opposite of a cult. I want you to be your own mind. I want you to watch whatever you want to watch. I want you to disagree with me when you disagree with me. I want you to be armed so that no one can force you to do anything. That's the opposite. So that's where we're at. We have the cult and the not cult. We have stories like this that I've pointed out. These people, someone will throw a pebble at their window. Like a kid will be walking by and he'll like flick a coin and it'll bang on the glass. And then they'll immediately go on Twitter and be like, someone's banging on my windows. They're trying to kill me. Then they'll come out and they'll say, see, proof, the far right. Then these activist organizations will say terrifying reports of violence from the far right. And it was pointed out to us on IRL. I mean, we know this, but someone made a good point. If you went to the average person in this country, if you went knocked on the door and said, who do you think is more likely to engage in extreme violence, a left-wing person or a right-wing person? They would probably tell you a right-wing person, despite the fact that the right lives in the middle of nowhere and typically doesn't go outside. But you do have some moments of intense violence. However, most of these like mass shootings aren't left or right wing. However, when it comes to street level violence, fire bombs, Molotovs, the Summer of Love, the 5/29 insurrection, it is the left. January 6th. Yep. See, the Democrats get it. There's a reason why they did these hearings. There's a reason why they did prime time coverage of January 6th. They know that you, a smart person, won't care. They're targeting those who don't pay attention. Many of you are familiar with the Nigerian email scams, the Nigerian prince. You get an email and they're like, I am a prince in Nigeria worth billions, but I've been locked out due to a coup in my country. If you send me $5,000, I will then be able to regain control of my bank accounts and send you $1 million. People fall for that stuff. How, we say, how could you fall for it? The best part about these emails, they're often rife with grammatical errors and nonsensical statements, misstatements. And so when you get the email, you see it and you're like, these people are so stupid. These Nigerian scammers are so dumb, they can't even spell an email right. But that, my friend, is when you must realize we are the midwits in that situation. We're smart enough, but not smart enough. You see, the Nigerian email scammers intentionally make their emails look stupid and fill them with grammatical errors. Why? They don't want to waste time on you. You're smart enough to know you're being scammed. Many people who are smart enough to know they're being scammed aren't smart enough to realize the email rife with errors is intentional because they don't want to waste time with someone who won't be scammed. Do you get it? They send out an email that looks dumb as a box of rocks, and a stupid person goes, whoa, how do I send you the money, man? And it works. Typically, it's old people who they target. Understanding that, take a look at what the left does. They say things that seem to be the stupidest possible thing ever, and you don't fall for it. Neither do I. They don't care. They're not targeting you, the smart person who can see through their lies. They're targeting the stupid person who can't. January 6th hearings. They are amassing a mob of zombie NPC political voters. or just people who don't pay attention at all and don't want to. That way, they can ballot harvest, they can get funding, and they can get votes. And they know you, the person who is ranging from midwit to smart, will not fall for their lies. And they don't care. They'll keep lying. You may be wondering, how is it possible that we see this over and over and over again and people keep falling for it? That's exactly how. So as to how we solve this problem, I suppose you can't. We just have to build culture and win. You have to win the culture war. That's the most important thing. Now, they're definitely mad at Elon Musk, accusing him of being QAnon now, I guess, because he's winning. You look at these stories. Take a look at this one from the Washington Post, and I'll cover this a little bit more in depth later. QAnon is finding new life in Elon Musk's conspiracy theories. Now, you probably see that and you go, these people are so stupid. Elon Musk is now promoting QAnon. Who's going to fall for that? The dumb people. And then they're going to march around going, yeah, Elon's so bad. He's QAnon. And you're going to go, he posted a picture of an emoji of a rabbit. It's like a Matrix reference or something. No, I said it was, you're QAnon. And you're like, ugh. That's what the Democrats do. That's why Democrats want 16-year-old voters. Inexperience, a lack of wisdom. They want an ignorant voter base who will just vote however they tell them to vote. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.